Okay, guys, we are now moving on to part 3, our final part of the operations activity before we move on to investing and financing, which will come out in our accounting 103 test. Okay, so as I mentioned before, the first thing that we can and the method which we will use is CSDP. Yeah, really funny. For cash from operations, I for interest income, I for interest expense, S for your SARS income tax, and DP for your dividends paid. All right. So let's type out our first item. Cash general. Cash generated through operations, and you're gonna put your work in for 5. All right, and then beside that, we're gonna have a look. If you recall, I did say to you that in order to get this answer, you'd have to take this, our profit before changes in working capital, and you will subtract the total from your changes in working capital. So 5 there, and then 556 minus 32, and that should give us 524 million. All right. The second thing to do is to calculate our interest income. Now, in the operations activity, it's literally logical. If it's income, you add it, and if it's an interest expense, you subtract it. Okay. So with our interest income, let's check it out. Interest income, 34 million. Next, our interest expense, and that's at 46 million. The next part will be calculating our SARS income tax. Okay. Okay, so the first thing is you're going to have to look to see where it's mentioned, where it speaks about income tax and SARS. And so if we come down here, it says here our SARS income tax, 46 and 32. All right. But since we're dealing with income tax, we can never forget about our income tax year. Remember, first we calculated profit before tax, but here is our income tax, and here is our profit after tax. So we have to include our income tax always when calculating our SARS amount. It says 92. And so when we're calculating it, it's always going to be your second amount, your current year, 2011, minus 32 plus your income tax that was given above, 92. So let's do this. 46 minus, let's 32 plus 92. All right. And that gives us 78 million. Again, open brackets. and then we are going to calculate dividends paid. So if we look at our additional information, it says an interim dividend of 100 million was paid on ordinary shares. Okay, so remember, it's always a movement of cash. We're always looking to see where was cash change in hands, and cash changed hands because 100 million was paid. Okay, so dividends paid. All right, and just put the amount 100 million. Then finally just calculate our total for operations activity. We add up all of these values and we'll get 534 million rand. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.